Hey, good afternoon, folks. And this your guy, Dolphins AD Moore, back on the corner. Holiday seasons and holidays greeting to you, folks. If you're out there and out and about, please be safe. I know everybody's out shopping and they're having a great time with the holiday season. Just be careful, especially with your packages and everything. Don't get so full of yourselves that you forget about your surroundings. Well, look like the Texans would like to forget about their surroundings today, as the Seattle Seahawks came into the NRG Stadium today and left out of here with a 33-13 victory over the Houston Texans today. Highlights of the game. Well, let me put it like this. That was one significant highlight. There are a couple. But let's face it. Kaimi Fairbairn hit a franchise record, hit an NRG record, 61-yard field goal. And my cohort here, we were sitting next to one another. We sort of looked at him and he was like, is he out of his mind going 61 yards? But lo and behold, I think he probably could have went back maybe, a yard and a half. I started to get ridiculous and say move back 3 yards. But he made it he made it with a yard to spare. So, as far as the Houston Texans was concerned, there was some improvements. Davis Mills started today. They had an opening drive touchdown, folks, and to the best of my, I think it's the first time the Texans scored on an opening drive the whole season, this whole 21 season, and they took the opening kickoff after the Seahawks deferred on the toss and drove it down and and they scored. So that was some pluses for the day. But the bottom line, as Herm Edwards always say, you play the game to win, and the Texans didn't win today. So without further ado, I'm bringing my guy in, Elwyn Henderson, who's on the road with Elwyn. This is sort of like, instead of like on the road with 60 minutes, we're going to do on the road with Elwyn. Elwyn was, in fact, the first guest we had on the corner. He's driving back because he's got to go. His Gilmer Eagles are in the Class 3A championship in Jerry World on Friday, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Elwyn, be careful on the road. Don't let. I would just want to double check to make sure that no highway patrolman is going to pull you over. But quick analysis of the game today. What's from your perspective on the Texans and what you saw today as far as with the Seahawks?
AD, I agree with what you said. They got a great start. And I believe you were correct in that assessment. First time they got a touchdown on the first possession to start the game all season. Certainly the Fairbairn kick, as you mentioned, you and I looked at each other and wondered if David Culley had lost his mind when he sent him out there, but it looked like he was smarter than we were because apparently he knew he was going to make it. And, I was glad for Kaimi to see him make that, and it gave the team a lift early on. And, it was really a pretty good, solid game for the better part of the half. And then things just kind of fell apart in the second half again, as it seems to have done quite a bit this season, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think that 61-yarder was a shot in the arm for the Texans. And then all of a sudden, the clock man, and I'm not going to call clock management per se, I would call play selection that allowed Russell Wilson with one play, and because you sort of looked at me one like, well, 3 pass. What are you gonna need 3 pass plays to convert to Lockett, and only took Russell Wilson one play, 55 yards, 8 seconds, and he hit the Lockett for a 55-yard TD right before the half, and that was sort of like that was it. That was it for the Texans as far as they were concerned, and as far as what the Seattle Seahawks, they came out and just slammed the door on the Houston Texans. They make their adjustments at halftime, and this seems to be the modus operandi for just about everybody that faced the Texans. Texans come out, they got a decent game plan, first half to second half. Whatever adjustments the Texans might have made, would have made, could have made, or should have made, it's been a futile effort. At least from the perspective of what they've seen so far with this season, Elwyn. And it's look like he done froze up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll hopefully unfreeze. But while we try to get Elwyn unfrozen here, we'll probably like to go in. Let's go in and take a look at Dwayne Brown came back to town. It was his first time back in NRG and since 2017, and I'll be quite candid, folks. That as supposed to be an objective reporter, I established a very good relationship with Dwayne Brown while I was here. Plus the fact that we got a chance to be in the locker room. So with Jonathan Joseph, who was the team captain today, we got a chance to interview him prior to the game today. So with Dwayne coming back, it was interesting to and I want to thank Dave Pearson, because normally you don't have an offensive tackle coming to the podium. It's normally all the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, and all like that, the defense. But they did. Dwayne Brown came back to the podium today, and this was his reactions of being able to coming back to Houston after having been gone, since 2017.
Obviously, it's a young team we're going against. They play very hard. They got a lot of talent. We started out a little rough. It was a tough matchup. We just put our foot on the gas a little bit in the second half. It's a real feeling for me. Getting back, my first time back in the building since 2017. So good to see some familiar faces. Good to get the win.
As Dwayne said, he felt it was kind of surreal for him to be back. Elwyn, did you get stopped by the highway patrolman, or are they just intercepted your signal because you froze for a little bit?
I don't know what happened. Everything looked like it was good on my end, so I'm not sure what happened.
Well, anyway, we just had Dwayne Brown, on his recap coming back. But the thing about it, and Coach, I'm gonna go ahead and give you props right now. You posed a question to Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll asked you, could you get on the plane with him and sit in his seat coming back? So,
yeah.
That was somewhat of a surreal moment for you when Pete Carroll asked you that you want to come sit on the plane with him flying back. And you froze again, Elwyn. So
yeah, it really was for me. Wow, there we go. Am I back now?
Yeah, you back now.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of surreal. I almost wanted to ask him, AD, what kind of contract he was going to offer me to motivate the Seahawks for the rest of the season, and I might be willing to have gone.
Well, you know what was interesting, because the question that you asked him, and this is normally what they try to use these last 4 games as a measuring stick, trying to get ready for the playoffs. And so this has sort of been that mantra far as what the Seahawks are concerned, is getting ready, because we know Russell Wilson was out with injuries. Rashad Penny, who had a monster game today. I think he had 16 carries, 140-some yards rushing. And this was a young man who had experienced a lot of injuries. And let's face it, it's only just a couple years ago I got a chance to see this young man in San Diego playing on Thanksgiving Day for San Diego State. And and he was part of a Heisman push, Penny, a penny for Heisman. But and it was a top draft pick for the Seattle Seahawks. But he's been battling injuries, and so the fact that he was able to put together two good games for the Seahawks, and I think everybody was just more appreciative of the work that he's been put in, and just to get himself back.
Absolutely, and you had to feel good for the young man, even if you were a Texans fan, in the fact that he came back against some pretty insurmountable odds with all the injuries he had. And obviously, if he can stay healthy, he can be a major force for the Seahawks in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and let's face it, the one, and we're not going to say that the Texans defense was chop liver, because if there's one thing that the overall this season has shown us, that front seven, the front seven, and it's not so much a knock against the secondary, but that front seven has been able to stay pretty consistent. Has been able to sort of keep the Texans in several ball games. It's just that they get exposed too much in the second half, being on the field so much, and let's face it, they get wore down. And one of the things, and we hope that Kaim Gruger Hill went out with an injury today after having that big monster game last week where he set a new franchise tackling record. So, only thing that we can say is he was out for the game. So I'm seriously hoping that this kid can get back, because he's sort of become the heart and soul, that heartbeat of that defense and the way they swarm to the football.
Oh, that's definitely true. And as you and I were talking, in fact, you mentioned if he is out for the rest of the season, that is going to be a huge loss for the defense. And I don't know if they can replace him with anybody that can come close to doing what he's done.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. Zach Cunningham, which was the last year's, leading in tackling and everything, he's gone. He's found himself in Nashville, Tennessee, and a lot of people said the Texans are crazy, and all the other. But let's face it, Elwyn. If you don't do, all of us have rules to work with. I mean, I'm not being the Texans defender on this, but we all got rules on our jobs. And when you start flaunting the rules and showing up late and everything, was that his means of getting out from here? I don't know. Well, whatever the case might be. But the Texans cut him, and he's gone. He's probably smiling walking out of here. He improved by several victories just by leaving here. But the fact of the matter remains, I'm not going to be one of those folks that sit there and just beat the Texans up because you cut it. Because the man say that's your job, whether you like it or not, whether you like everything about it. You still getting paid. He was getting paid every week, and now just certain things, and so he's not here. So that's my soapbox as far as that particular situation. He's gone, and I hope wish him good well and good luck. In Tennessee, but the Seahawks today, and you've been watching them. When you watch professional football, you remember we were all sitting there in the end zone when Russell Wilson, when we thought that the Seahawks was going in for the Super Bowl victory over the Patriots, and saw that in Arizona. We were all sitting there together watching that play. And so now to see this team struggling to get back where they are, the Legion of Boom is gone. There's been a lot of changes. But the one variable that's still consistent there has been Russell Wilson. He's got new receivers. He's got Tyler Lockett there now, and he's looked like they're starting to get a running attack together there. So, and like I said, they were able to beat one of their Western nemesis last week in the 49ers. So it's going to be interesting to see how well will they build on this momentum, and how well can the 49ers the Seahawks keep building on this momentum and keep rolling toward the playoffs.
Absolutely. And of course, as you and I were sitting there talking about today in the press box, as crazy as the NFC is, the Seahawks are right there on the cusp, on the edge of potentially getting into the playoffs. And if they can win these last 4 games and they end up going 9-8, that'll probably get you a wild card in the NFC this year.
And let's face it, as crazy as it might sound, they might be on the road, but if memory serves us correct, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers became road warriors in order to wind up being at home, playing at home for their own Super Bowl last year. So, we've seen crazier things happen, and so it's not beyond the realm of impossibility that the Seahawks could get on the road, make a run, and they very well could be, they could be challenging the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be being that NFC team, that'll be representing the NFC. Maybe not. We don't know.
Absolutely, but just like you said, the way the NFC is going right now, nothing is out of the realm of possibility with all those teams that are bunched up together there. Quickly
I know I don't want to lose you, but I know you up in that East Texas area, you got a 3A champion, you got a 3A that's going to the final left. Give us a thumbnail on the Gilmer on that Gilmer football team and what they getting ready we're going to face in Jerry World on Friday, this coming Friday.
You bet. Well, actually, it's 4A Division II championship game we're going into against China Spring there in the Waco suburb. I believe this is China Springs' first trip ever to state championship game. Gilmer, this will be their 8th appearance, and currently they are 3-4 in the 7 times they've been there previously. And the first time we lost to Cameron Yo 26-3 in 1981, and I was doing live radio at that time. And of course, I know everybody knows our former head coach Jeff Traylor, who has turned the UTSA program around. And Jeff won 3 state championships for us, 04, 09, and 14, before he left to go down with Charlie Strong. But we have been really fortunate. Jeff Traylor, in my mind, I've told him more than once, I put him up there, right up there with Lou Holtz as far as motivational. He is smart enough to know what to say to young high school kids to get their attention, and college kids, as he's proven at UTSA these last 2 years. And he built a program and a practice schedule that we have been using in Gilmer for 22 seasons now. It's tried and true and proven. We've won close to 300 games in the last 21 seasons and lost only like 42. It's been a great run, and all we ever do is reload. We are a no-huddle, shotgun offense. We run hurry up the entire game. Most teams, it's interesting, will try to keep away from us. And we had a game 2 weeks ago against Pleasant Grove from our district AD, where we had the ball 10 minutes and beat them 35-17. They had a 10-minute and 2-second drive on us, an 8-minute and 40-something second drive, and a 6-minute and 39-second drive. It was just one of those games. Well, if they don't have the ball, they can't score. But when we get the ball, it's not unusual for us to have 3 plays, 95 yards, touchdown pass. We've got a tremendous second-year quarterback who is committed to UTSA that's leading our team. A great defense. Our colors in Gilmer are orange and black. I jokingly tell everybody we have a blast because it's Halloween every Friday night during football season in Gilmer. And we're really excited about it. We're going to be the underdog, but we were the underdog this past Friday night against Salina and beat them 27-7. So we're excited about that opportunity. And thanks for giving me a chance to toot a Gilmer Buckeye horn.
Well, you earned it. I mean, as much as I have to hear about them, but going back to Jeff Traylor at UTSA, were you a little bit surprised that they scraped some money together to keep him at UTSA? But were you expecting him to stay, or were you thought he might make that move after his second season there?
Well, I didn't really know that they could come up with the money to keep him. And I knew from what I had heard off the record, not from Jeff, but from pretty reliable sources, he was very interested in TCU. And if Patterson had left TCU a week earlier, I don't know that UTSA could have kept him. But when that thing fell just right, Texas Tech brought him a contract to San Antonio, 6 years, $30 million. And I think he let the Texas Tech people come down there so the UTSA people would see, well, we better do something. And then he sent the Texas Tech folks home crying, and UTSA, of course, was tickled to death. I think he will be there for a couple more years. And this is just my prejudice being a Jeff Traylor fan because I've known him since he was in junior high school, AD. But I know in my mind what I have no doubt that he has his sights on. I firmly believe he would love to get the opportunity to become the coach of the Texas Longhorns, the head coach. And if we don't see Sark turn the Longhorns around, he's probably got 2 more seasons after all the roller coaster they've had the last 3 head coaching changes. But if Sark doesn't do something to get them turned around, with Jeff Traylor already being in the UT system and his success at the college level now, I think he might have a realistic shot at getting that. And I don't think he could possibly turn that down no matter what he wanted to do otherwise.
So, I mean, I think you think that the Longhorns, we know they got the money. They don't mind paying people off. I mean, I think they still playing. They playing Tom Herman off. They still playing Charlie Strong off. So their pocket's so deep, paying somebody off is no big deal. They'll send you packing in a moment.
No.
But
Yeah.
do you think is he sort of that offering that sort of that quiet servant in the wing in case Sarkisian can't get it turned around?
I honestly think so. And I know because he was tickled to death when Charlie Strong asked him to join his staff at Texas. I know Jeff loved it in Austin, and I know he would love to be back there as the head coach.
Hey, you heard it here. You heard it here first on the corner. That's always. That's why we say we heard it on the corner here first. I'm at to go back and mark that on the tape, man. When we going back out.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say one more thing before either I fade out or you need to move on to something else.
Okay.
Class act by the Houston Texans today. The seat over from me. They had a large flower arrangement and a Dave Campbell's magazine there honoring the life and legacy of Dave Campbell. And I thought that was a first-class act and was just tickled to death to see the Texans do that.
Elwyn, I concur. In fact, I got a chance, and one of the reasons I got a chance to sit down with John McClain, who actually went to work for Dave Campbell right out of Baylor there. And McClain gave me, and I got it on video, and I'm not going to tweet it out. I'm actually going to post it on the corner. But he said that he's supposed to speak at Dave Campbell's funeral this coming Friday. But he gave me several minutes of just. He said I could give you a lot of Dave Campbell's story, but I just asked him would he give a fellow high school player who was also part of that whole history of Dave Campbell's Texas high school football, because that's almost coming June June, that's like Christmas for Texas high school football. To see that magazine come out and to see myself featured in there and really featured in there for about 2 years running. And I'll be quite candid with you. I was pleased with the write-up, not only with me, but with my high school and everything. And a lot of players have been featured in Dave Campbell's Texas high school football. So yeah, I thought it was the one question you and I sort of looked at. I'm going like, why didn't they put? I mean, we can just say this, and this is not a knock on. It was a Dave Campbell basketball magazine, and I went like, could they put a football? But that's okay. The fact that, because Dave Campbell made his name off of Texas high school football, the Dave Campbell magazine.
Right.
So,
yeah, well, I got to thinking about something after we discussed that, though, AD. I'm guessing they couldn't put their hands on a Texas football magazine.
Yeah, they're all gone.
We're heading to the state championship this week.
Yeah, and plus, they probably had to go dig one out because I think I probably still have my copy of one when I was in there way back then. My parents hadn't thrown it out yet, but that's.
Well, I'll tell you what, I use that magazine every week because I pull and give Dave Campbell's Texas football credit for it. I pull their description of the teams along with returning starters and returning lettermen and put in my pregame newspaper story for the team Gilmer's playing every week. And, I depend on it. As we all know, it's called the Texas Football Bible, and it is that revered in Texas, just one step under the Bible, and should be. Now, one other thing, I got to get one more plug in here. My Gilmer quarterback, Brandon Tennyson, was the 4A cover boy of the year. So, he got some kudos.
Well, hey man, as you get up the road there, I'm gonna go ahead and cut you loose where you cut the light out. Well, I don't want the Texas Highway Patrolman thinking you might be running, doing some smuggling up and down 59 now. But
hey, if they pull me over, I'd already made up my mind what I was going to do. What are you doing with your lights on? Hey, officer, stick your head in here and get on TV. We got an internet football discussion going, and you are very privileged to have me to pull over because Pete Carroll just invited me to ride home with the Seahawks on the plane.
Elwyn Henderson, as always, my brother. Hey man, be careful. I know you won't be back you won't even be back. Christmas will be Have a blessed Christmas, man. Good luck to the Gilmer football team and everything, man. We'll be in touch. And as always, man, I'm appreciative of you for taking the time on the road with Elwyn and the Gilmer football team. Good luck in the 4A championship Friday at Jerry's World. Hey, man, good luck to you. Be careful, bro.
All right, you too, AD. Thanks for having me on, and Merry Christmas to you. If I don't see you the day after, I'll be there, and I hope you said you weren't going to be, though, didn't you?
No, I'm gonna be with the family, man. I'm gonna be out of the state, so I'm hoping somebody's gonna be at the game.
I plan to be there at this point.
Okay,
all right, brother. Thanks a bunch.
All right, man. Take care of yourself, man. All right. As we let Elwyn go and swing back until I got one more clip, folks. I wanna play before we get off the air. And that's with Russell Wilson. Russell, I mean, let's face it. I mean, impressive young man. And Russell is a veteran, and the fact that I asked him about his improvisation skills, and it was interesting. And so as we get ready to go to this clip, one of the last clip before we get ready to shut it down here on the corner. I want to ask Russell Wilson about his improvisational skills and really what how important it is with the Seahawks when he's rolling and how he's improvising on plays, what happens. So we get ready to run this Russell Wilson clip.
My dad would love that reference of Miles Davis and being able to make things happen. I think that for me, I always try to read out the play how it's supposed to happen, and then next thing you know, it's time to try to make some magic and see what we can do. And I think that just over my career, I think just to be able to feel where people are, where they were, where they're not anymore, to be able to understand how the game kind of is it's a beautiful but yet chaotic puzzle piece. And I think that you have to be able to have amazing minds, amazing ability of guys around you to be able to do that too. And that's what we have. We have really talented guys that can get open and make plays. And the line, it takes them battling and just giving me another little split second, another little chance. And that's what they do a great job of, and they did that tonight.
Yep, folks, that's I call him a jazz master. And the lead up question to it, I said, being like the jazz masters, being able to, improvisation, and I made the reference to him like Miles Davis. So that was his response when he mentioned the fact about how his dad would love that reference. But tell you what, folks, that's what happens when you got to have a team that's winning, and when things starting to go to click according to their skill sets. With Rashard Penny, coming back today, 2 weeks in a row, having a big breakout game today, and the fact that their offensive line seems to be starting to mold it. The defense was starting to lay people out and starting to shut people down, which they were able to do today. So there's hope for the Texans. I know a lot of folks looking and want to say, yeah, we got about as much hope as I got to be careful where I'm sitting at now, but anyway, there is hope. But do we have the right people who can select the right players and put the right people in place that can make things happen? That's to be seen. But without further ado, I tell you what, as we get ready to roll this puppy to the end and get ready to I think Chris Gardner is going to be jumping on the air. Chris, I think what do you going Rockets talk when in about an hour?
8 o'clock, yes, sir, Mr. Moore. Let's talk Houston Rockets on my YouTube channel. 8 o'clock, Central Time, or for Mr. Willie Gibson, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, man, look. I thought maybe he might have. I thought Willie, he might have been sitting up there. He might have been at the basketball game, man. I know he was a big Ohio State, the big Buckeye proponent and everything. But do we need to make sure send him another little text or anything? But I think Mr. Gibson will be there in loud and Buckeye living color. So
he's a Buckeye alum. I've learned that. So yeah, he went to the Ohio State University.
Did he pay you to say extra to emphasize the Ohio State?
No, I just know how sensitive they are about that.
Hey, folks, as I started off the program earlier, reminding everybody we are in the holiday season. Be careful. When you're out shopping, please be very cognizant of the surroundings. Don't get so wrapped up in the holiday season. Don't get so wrapped up in your package. You got so much in your hand, you're not watching your surroundings. Watching, ladies, men, and women, watch your children, watch things, and be careful when you're pulling into the service station and everything. People out here, we think, this is a season for blessings and everything. Some folks don't want to work for theirs. They think they want to take it from you. And so I'm encouraging everybody just to be kind, be cognizant. We are in Advent season right now for under the Christian calendar. So everybody, please be careful out there. Mr. Gardner, as always, I appreciate you. And as we get ready to move to the close, this is your man, Adolphus AD Moore, on the AD Max Korner. Peace, ciao, and we are out of here.